All right, so we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna start from the past as always. New perspective, guys. You guys have gained some sort of new perspective, new beginning, new ideas, new way of communicating, even. A lot of newness. Okay, a lot of newness here. But you've also gotten clarity and victory through the truth here. Clarity about your situation. And in the past, I feel like with that clarity happening, you're very defensive and you were standing your ground and standing up for yourself potentially. Aries, you probably had to fend off a lot of crazy folks. Okay, you really had to defend yourself around in the past, especially when it came to the Ace of Swords. People probably were throwing all kinds of truth at you, but you had a new truth about yourself, and you had to stand in your ground with that. That made you feel like externally that, of course, the situation around you was not very satisfying. Therefore, you walked on your own, took it upon yourself to find what it is that find what it is that truly made you satisfied, made you happy. Find the cup out of the madness that really hits the spot. Because currently, I feel like you may have realized that the situation around you was not satisfying. It was not good for you. It just wasn't for you, right? It wasn't bad. It didn't hurt you in any way, but constantly defending yourself at the same time, and then, you're good. You have clarity here. You know what you don't want. So I feel like here, Aries, you did make the steps. You did do what you have to do to get out of your situation, or at least you did what you had to do to make you feel, to find what it is that makes you happy. Because currently, with the Three of Swords, you have, past pains, old issues. You may be triggered right now. There could be some third-party situation going on here, but I don't see that. I would like to see more cards indicate the third-party situation. But the Three of Swords can also indicate that there's just a lot of old stuff coming up. There's old pains. Triggers, things that remind you of the pains that you have going on in your heart. This could be because, internally there was the world here, so there could have been a wrapping up an old cycle, but being stuck in between worlds, in a sense, like you've finished one phase and you're about to begin a new phase, but at the same time you're not necessarily done there yet. You're kind of stuck in that transitional phase at this moment. Like there could be like a transition where you're ending something here, but you're starting something new, and the Four of Cups really highlights that too, because the Four of Cups is focusing on Three Cups here. It's focusing on what's been happening, what's the same, what's familiar, what's been going on, what's been going down, what they can see. They're looking for, this person here is super concentrated on the Three Cups, but he doesn't realize there's a new beginning coming in. He doesn't realize that there's a cup that's coming in, exactly what he's been looking for all this time. And I feel like it has a lot to do with potentially him shifting his focus, looking at his situation in a different light, or at least removing his concentration from the Three Cups to the fourth cup, where he can potentially see it. It's all about the fixation on what's been happening, and I feel like that's the triggers are forcing are causing a lot of pain right now, potentially because there is something new that needs to be there's something new that's trying to come in, but the Three Cups is like, well, we're standing in the way right now. It's something in regards to us that you may need to really adjust, so that way you can get, you can have this new beginning. That's why it feels like you're not necessarily ending something yet, but you've not finished something and you're not necessarily beginning something. The world is like, whoa, we're transitioning, we're doing something different, but then it's not happening exactly immediately, and it's potentially because of the Four of Cups. So, with that being said, I do get this feeling that the Three of Swords is really what's going to, believe it or not, help. It's going to help big time. Whatever was dissatisfying in the past, whenever you had to stand up for yourself regarding the past, whatever new perspective you gained from the past here, I really feel like this can really help you with this trigger situation and the past pains and things like that. The things that that's a big focus at this time, because he's only stuck because he doesn't see that there's a fourth cup there. He's not exactly stable yet. He's like figuring it out. He's stuck. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know how to move forward. He doesn't know where else to, what other journeys lie within these 3 cups. But there's a new cup coming in. There's a new thing that's like, hey, this was fresh. Take it. But he doesn't see that. He doesn't know that there's even a cup being offered to him behind. Well, so there's not even a cup. He doesn't realize there's a cup even available for him behind him. Okay? And I feel like the shifting focus portion of what it is that your emotions are trying to tell you, or what your emotions are, or really pretty much releasing what's been going on, releasing what's happening emotionally, so that way you can feel more emotionally aware of what's going on. Because he's not emotionally aware. He's very focused on this. He's very concentrated on this. He's very much focused on this. He's not hearing anything else. But if he released what's in front of him, if he just released that, let it go, move forward, not necessarily move forward, but just like understand that that's there, and just truly allow himself to meditate right now, I think he would like his emotion, his intuition would guide him towards the cup that he's been looking for all this time, which is really where he's been walking to this entire, like, you see it, right? He's been defensive to defensive. I don't like this crap. And now he's looking at what he's been through, looking at everything that he's been, everything someone said to him. He's got a lot of emotional stuff that he's stuck on. But if he forgave this energy, or at least released it in some sort of way, been open to allow his intuitions and his emotions to be open, he could feel that there's something floating behind him. His sensors would go off. He'd be like, hey, look, there's something new happening. So I feel like there is, this new perspective is here, being emotionally aware of what it is that you don't want. Right here, that's why I believe, like, this situation here, Aries, where there was a lot of defensiveness and things like that, it was because you became more and more aware of what your true and heart's desire was, or wasn't, in your situation. That was being hearing your heart for the first time. That's what it looks like. Feeling your heart for the first time, and you're almost there. You're almost completing it, and now you released whatever it was that wasn't satisfying you, somewhat, to some degree. But there's something. The past is still lingering. The past is still here, and I feel like it's the biggest test of all, right? What does your heart say now in regards to what it is that you want? What does your heart say now, and what is your heart trying to alert you that you may not be hearing because of the triggers? The triggers should be, the triggers are about what you may need to release and what could be blocking you. Because, right, these swords are blockages in the heart here. It can't pump efficiently. It can't operate or move in the way it should because of the swords. And that's the biggest thing. Triggers are not the blockages. The triggers alert you of the blockages that potentially keep you from fully ending the cycle. But I feel like if you heard it here in the past, you can definitely hear it here. It just may be hard to look at these issues and pull out the swords, because obviously it's going to hurt when you pull them out. But that's why you have healing in the future. All right? It's going to be hard to pull them out, but at least your part can pump efficiently. You can work. Everything will start to work in the way it's supposed to. So that way you can hear this new beginning or feel this new beginning right behind you. And I feel like when you tap into that intuitive energy again, when you really allow yourself to feel what's going on around you with this Four of Swords, you'll be able to heal, overcome that pain that you may be feeling. And then the Ten of Wands, right? I know it's a burden, right? It's a great burden, but I feel like it's the ending of a cycle. At the end of the day, you're ending that cycle. You're putting it to rest, and then you're healing because the cycle's ending. You can take a moment. You can put the wands down. You can feel. You can start to feel a little bit better, like you're making some sort of progress. But most importantly, you're ending the cycle here. And the 10, there's another 10 here, right? The Wheel of Fortune. Second time around. Second chances. A change of luck, most importantly. I feel like things will start to turn around. Because the lesson here has a lot to do with you allowing yourself to be just as emotionally and intuitively aware as you were here. and doing it now. It's super hard, of course, especially on command when you need it to work. And it's not forcing it. You just allowed it to happen, right? Released whatever this was. You said in this, because there's no sadness, there's no turmoil, there's no anything, okay? But you knew what you didn't want, and you let your intuition guide you, and now you're at the spot where your intuition really wants you to pay attention. And it's hard, especially with pain that aches so badly. But with that blockage there, you can release it. At least if you see the pain that you may be facing, that may be in your heart, you know, it'll be a lot easier to make the necessary changes that you're looking for, or make, you know, begin something new. But finally putting the pain to rest. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. This could also talk about age difference. It could talk about religious differences, obviously, right? Like things that are outside of the norm for you, like pretty much who you like, what either society would deem unsuccessful. Oh, I'm so sorry about my tongue tidiness, guys. What society would deem unacceptable, or whatever you deem unacceptable, whatever your family deems as unacceptable, that is not necessarily important. The society that you've been fighting against for so long in the past year, you were like, nah, I don't care what they think. I'm going to do what I want to do. That was the new perspective that you gained here. And I feel like it could be coming back up now for you personally. It could be coming up with here for you personally. But if, you know, if this is just someone that's not typically, you know, different, you know, that's not typically along the same lines of how you grew up or who you've been dealing with forever, what kind of people you've been dealing with. And it's because of the status quo, it's because of your family, it's because of society. Who cares, right? You've never cared before. It's not about them. It's about you. It's about what you truly want. And if this person has brought you so much love and so much happiness, and you want to see something new with this individual, why should you let some sort of, you know, anything about them that, you know, keep you from being with them? And at the same time, though, if this is such a huge thing, right? If this is such a huge issue, you know, you don't have to compromise your truth for them. You don't have to compromise your truth for anybody, right? This is your truth. If you can't, you know, this is just a deal breaker. This is a deal breaker. At the end of the day, they lost out. Sorry. You don't ride with me. You don't chill. I don't feel it. And that's totally cool. Right? But religious factors talks about, you know, religious differences, you know, age differences, race differences, anything, cultural differences, right? And it's about whether, you know, it's about, you know, seeing those things. It's very close to it's very Hierophant card like, right? It's very similar to Hierophant, where it talks about status quo and things like that. If they're against the status quo, or if they're against your typical norm, then that can definitely bring up a lot of issues with society and even yourself, because you don't know which one to pick. You don't know which way to go. And it's kind of hard, right? Because you have something for this individual. You still feel like you just, there's something here, but there's a lot, you know, there's a lot going on, a lot of noise.